We'll begin on Chaf Aleph Amid Beis, 6 lines down to the wide lines. The line begins with the word Mishpachto, and we'll start with Iboilahu. And the Gemara has a suffix, Eved Ivri Kohen, Maushi Yimsalo Rabo Shifra Knanis. We know that the Torah is very careful about about a Kohen, and a Kohen has special mitzvos and special Isurim, and he's not allowed to have a relationship neither with a Zona or a Chalola or a Grusha. And now, in the Parsha of Eved Ivri, the Torah allows the Adon to give a Goyeta, a non-Jewish woman, to the Eved Ivri. She's only a Shivcha. And what happens if the Eved is a Kohen? And here's the Gemara Suffolk. Chidushu, the Torah was Machadish, that Yisrael is allowed to have a relationship with an Eved, with a Goyeta, because he's an Eved, even though, generally speaking, if he was not an Eved, he's also B'Shivcha. Is Loshna Kohanim Loshna Yisraelim. If the Torah was matir the Isser of Bia with a Shivcha, which is an Isser Lav of Kedeshus, here he quotes it in the footnote, I didn't see it, V'lo Yeh Kodesh, in Dvarim Chav Gimel, then the Torah was matir it straight across the board for a Kohen as well. Or Dilma, should we say no? Shani Kohanim, because of the special Kedushas Kahuna, and they are different than Kol Yisrael. Their Kedusha is measured by the parameter of separate Isurim, and therefore we cannot be matir the Isur Shivcha for a Kohen, even though he's an Eved. Hol v'rivu ben hakos mitzvos yiseros. And on this, we have a Machlokas Rav and Shmuel, and we're going to see that this Machlokas Rav and Shmuel pops up again. Rav Amar Mutter. Once the Torah was matir a Shivcha for Yisrael, it was matir for a Kohen as well. So any Eved Ivri, even if he's a Kohen, is allowed to have a Shivcha. Ushmuel Amar Asa. Amalei Rav Nachman Rav Hanan Ki Havisu Beimar Shmuel. When I was learning Torah next to or at the feet of Mar Shmuel and Kaviyachal Be'is Kumdere Italtlasu, I used to play with in modern Hebrew they're called pasim, small pieces of wood that they used to cut up and play games with. In other words, I didn't really pay attention to be medagdik in the Shmuah. I was like playing around. And that's why I didn't realize that there's a tremendous kasha to ask here. My time alo temru meha. Why is it that I didn't ask this question from the Brisa? And we had the Brisa earlier. So the whole issue here is Ritzia, because we do Ritzia in the case of a Kohen, we're making him into a Balmum, and that we're not allowed to do. But if not for the issue of Balmum, he would definitely be an Eved. The Imtomer Ein Rabba Mosel Shivcha Knanis. Now you're going to tell me that what? That according to Shmuel, the Yadon is not allowed to give his Eved, who's a Kohen, and Shivcha Knanis, typically, Tibe'ina Ahavtias Adonias Ishti Vesponai. Why don't we derive the din that there's no ritzia, forgetting about the Balmum issue, because we need to be mekayim the pasuk of ahavti, etc., as ishti. And ishti here is a reference to the Shivcha Knanis. There's bodai, those are the children that they have from the relationship, the Eved's relationship with the Shivcha Knanis. And because of my love to my master and my Shivcha wife and my children from my Shivcha wife, I don't want to go out free. But in the case of a Kohen, if you're going to tell me that the Kohen could not have a relationship with the Shivcha, and the Adon is not allowed to give the Eved Kohen a Shivcha, so then what's he talking about over here? Veleki says this can't be come to fruition. He's not allowed to be married to a shivcha. And yet the Chachamim say, the reason why we have a problem of Ritzia is because he will become a Balmum. But other than that, there would be Ritzia. And there would be a full-fledged Avdus that he's married to a Shivcha. Otherwise, the Havamin of Ritzia would not even be a Havamin. And the Gemara's conclusion is, Su lo midi. There's no answer to this question, and therefore we have to assume that an Eved Ivri who's a Kohen is allowed to have this relationship with the Shivcha Knanas. Now the Gemara gives another machlokas between Rav and Shmuel, also on the same point. Iboilahu Kohen Ma'u B'Yifas Toar is the Parsha Yifas Toar that allows him, when he's out in battle and the Yitzhar is getting the best of him, he's allowing him to have a relationship with a Shivcha, with a Goyata. Does that apply to a Kohen? So let's analyze this suffix about Eishes Yifas Torah. Shall we say Kiddushin? The Torah is Machadesh, that even though you're not allowed to marry this woman, if it wasn't for the fact that you had the Yitzhar at war, when you were at war, it's Loshna Kohen, Loshna Yisrael. It wouldn't make any difference whether you're Kohen or Yisrael. The heter is blanket. Oh, Dilma, shall we say shiny Kohenim, Holva, Reba, Behem, Mitzvahs, Yiseros. And on that very point is Rav Hamar Mutter, Ushmuel Amar Asa. So we have almost a repeat performance of this machlokas of Rav and Shmuel, where Rav says that once the Torah was matter for Yisrael, Torah was matter for Kohen. Shmuel says no, Kohen is on a higher level, and the heter is limited to those who are not Kohen. The Gemara says the following: there was never a machlokas between Rav and Shmuel about Bia Rishona, and even Shmuel would have to be on board that in Eishis Fas Torah, the first Bia is permitted. But the Lo Dibra Torah Ela Keneged Yetzara, the Torah says that we're going to be matir his relationship with the Eishis Fas Torah, even though she's Asura Lo, she's a Goyata, because of the inability to overcome the Yetzahara. It'll be Nichshal. So the Torah was matir. And that same logic applies even to a Kohen, and the Torah was matir. So therefore the Gemara says, as far as Bia Rishon is concerned, there was never a machlokas, and even Rav would concede that he's allowed to have this relationship, the first Bia. But ki pligi b'Bia shniya. Okay, so the Yitzhahara is really, hot to trot here for the Bia Rishona. But once he had the Bia Rishona in his Karadaita, and therefore we don't have the battle against the Yitzhahara. And now at this point, Rav Amamutu Shmuel Amasa, here's where the Machlokas comes to the fore. Rav Amamutu Hoil ve'Ishrei Ishrei. As we said before, the Torah was matir, having a relationship with this Goyata, and it's a blanket heter straight across the board. Torah was matir Bia Rishona and any subsequent Bia. Shmuel Omar also dahavya giyoris v'giyoris l'kohen lo chazia. So Shmuel says, how can you be matir an Eishis Yifas Toar to a Kohen? Her status is that of a giyoris. Now, what's the Isa Gioris to a Kohen? It's actually the following. Bia Rishona was matir the Isa Goya. Bia Shnia is already a problem of Gioris. Because in the meantime, in the interim, she was Miskayer, so he can't have Bia with the Gioris. But it's interesting that the Bia of Gioris is more chamur, the Isa, than the Bia with a Goya. And the reason I believe for that is because a Gioris has specifically the status of a zona. There was never a matir on the Isur zone. So that's going to be Shmuel's unique shita, that even Bia Shni is Asura. Now we have an alternative tradition, according to which the whole machlokas is about Bia Rishona, not Bia Shnia. The Bia Shnia, Kuli Amalo Pligdi Asirim, and Shmuel would agree that she is Asura. And the reason for that is because Kvar Niskara Daita. Pligi Bia Rishona. But listen carefully. Now we get to Bia Rishona. And Rav Hamamutar, Lo Dibra Torah El Kineged Yetzara. But what's Rav saying here? Lo Dibra Torah El Kineged Yetzara. And that applies, I guess, to both Yisrael and Akoin. Ushmul Amar also Kol Hecha to Karina Bey Vesel Tov Beisecha. In other words, the heter for the Bia Shnia would be that he would be able to be married to her, but he can't be married to her because she's a zona. So when do we say and activate the whole parsha in the heter of Eishes Sifas Torah? That's only when it's Vesel Tov Beisecha, where he could culminate this relationship with a marriage. But in the case, and then it's Karina Bey V'Arisa Shivya. But Kol Heicha, like the case of Koi, the Lo Karina Ba Vesel Tov Beisecha, he cannot be Mekayim her as his wife because she's a Gyoris. Is Lo Karina Bey V'Arisa Shivya. So now we're saying that even the Bia Rishona is Asura, and even according to Shmuel. Torah Rabbanon, we learned to the Bryce. Now we're going to have a whole list of drushes that we've derived from the parasha of Ben Tzorah. For Isa Bashivya Bishas Shivya. Only if he had his eye on her at the time that she was taken captive. But if he, at the very beginning, he didn't have his eye on her to have relations with her, but rather he wanted to sell her. And then Nosan Einav Ba is Asurla. So when the Pasuk says V'Isa Bashivya, it's emphasizing Shas Shivya. Then it says Eishes, Afilu Eishes Ish. Even if she's married to a guy. I mean, she could only be married to a guy. Right, there's a whole discussion here in the note exactly what Easter is involved in the case of Eishes Goy. Ifas Toar, Dibra Torah Keneged Yetzahara. Right, she finds favor in his eyes. So the Yetzahara is getting the best of her. So now the Gemara gives a mashal. You could eat treifa meat or you could eat kosher meat. The Torah if it knows that you're going to be so tempted and overwhelmed, you're going to eat treif meat, the Torah is going to make it into basar kosher and be matut.